What's the most embarrassing thing you've done in an airport? I ended up in my birthday suit at the airport because of my tattoos. I was coming back from a business trip, dressed in a sharp suit, tie, and glasses. My tattoos were completely hidden unless I reached for something, so I didn't think twice about them. Security started out like any other day at the airport, but as I passed through the checkpoint, things took a bizarre turn. A guard flagged me for a random search and directed me to a private room. It wasn't just me, there were a few others waiting, and the group seemed oddly specific. The unease started to creep in. When it was my turn, I entered a room where two uniformed men sat behind a desk. They gestured for me to place my carry-on bag and luggage on the table. "We need to conduct a search," one of them said. Their instructions were vague, but they told me to remove my suit jacket. I complied, trying to stay calm. They patted me down and scanned my jacket. Then they asked me to take off my shirt. Now, I hesitated. Was this normal? They insisted, and I didn't want to escalate the situation, so I took it off and placed it in a bin. They barely examined my shirt before asking me to put it back on. A few minutes later, they requested I remove it again, claiming they needed a more thorough search. I should have refused, but when phrases like suspicious behavior and hidden contraband were mentioned, I figured compliance was the safest route. That's when things escalated. After my shirt was off, they requested I remove each article of clothing, one piece at a time. When it came to my last layer of modesty, I hesitated. "Why is this necessary?" I asked. Their answer was dismissive: "It's procedure." From that point, the search became deeply uncomfortable. Standing there, I was subjected to a series of invasive checks. They inspected every inch of me, making me lift my arms, wiggle my toes, open my mouth, and even perform awkward movements while they watched. The worst part came when they asked me to turn and spread. I wanted the ground to swallow me up, but I did as they said, not wanting to risk further complications. It was a moment of pure humiliation. Finally, they instructed me to stand still with my hands behind my head while they rummaged through my clothes and luggage. They asked about my medications and personal items, all while taking pictures of my tattoos without explanation. When they were done, I was allowed to get dressed again. I thought it was over, but they sat me down for another round of questioning. They went through my phone and laptop, grilling me about substances and behaviors I'd never engaged in. After 90 grueling minutes, they finally released me, rebooked my flight, and escorted me to the gate. No apology. No explanation. Just a memory I'd rather forget. When I got home, I tried to make sense of it all. From what I could gather, it was likely a mix of profiling and corruption. A part of me wondered if I should have offered a gesture of goodwill, but hindsight always makes these situations clearer. If there's one takeaway, it's this: just because you follow the rules doesn't mean you're exempt from finding yourself in absurd, humiliating situations.